on the stars like no other can. Bailey builds guitars with the wind and the sun.
Hey! Hi folks, welcome to the Bailey Workshop for the guitarmaking.co.uk channel. If you're interested in guitar making or anything like that, then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the future episodes.
Are we in a hurry?
Today we'll be gluing the back on. No, I'm not in a hurry really, I don't know why I said that so fast. We are trying to speed things up a bit though, because I know a lot of you haven't got a lot of time. So today folks, we're going to be closing the box ceremony. Very important to have a cup of tea. Once the lid's on, it's not coming off again. So here it is. Lid's going on today. So I've already done most of the work to fit it, and I'm going to take you through that before I actually glue it. So we're going to get straight on and do that now. But did you notice the thumbnail? There's been a lot of discussion on the website recently about what plane to buy. So it's a really interesting thread. Head over to the forum, it's free to join if you want to know about planes. But my tuppenny eighteenth is you don't need a super fancy plane, and in fact I know this is controversial but you don't even need to learn how to sharpen it to build a guitar. I know that is controversial, and if you go on to the London School of Furniture to build guitars, as many people I know have done, you spend the first month learning how to sharpen your planes and your chisels which is really frustrating, I know, but as Darren says, who's done it, it sets you up for life. Once you've learned to sharpen, get things razor sharp, you're set up for life. So very useful, well, essential to learn how to sharpen your plane, but not from day one. You can build an entire guitar, in fact you can probably build 10 before you even need to sharpen your plane, and you don't need a very expensive one. This one cost me less than £10. I checked on the internet, they're more like 20 now. Prices have doubled since I bought mine a long time ago. But there you go, it just goes to show I'm still using it, and I actually used it just yesterday to trim the kerf lining back. As you saw, if you look at the thumbnail for this video, you can actually see this particular plane. I've got two because I've got a lot of students, we can share them. And if I'm on my own, I tend to send I set one to cut really fine and one to cut coarse. So yeah, it was believe it or not, it was years before I learned to sharpen properly. And out of the 3 dozen or so people who worked at the guitar factory that shall not be named, believe it or not, out of all those people, there was only nobody ever told me how to sharpen anything until the boys from the Jaguar factory joined, as I was talking about previously. The boys from the Jaguar factory joined and they showed me how to sharpen stuff. But believe it or not, you can even run a guitar factory and still not know how to sharpen a chisel. Because how often do you use a chisel or a plane? It's not that often, to be honest. When you're starting out, there's only really one job that you need a plane for if you're making the standard electric build, like this one. By the way, this is Lockdown Lucy. It's going free to one of our premium members. If you want to get your dirty hands on this, have a look in the links in the description below. How to get your filthy hands on Lockdown Lucy.
Whose filthy hands?
Get my filthy hands off it, I should say. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to get straight on and we're going to go through the pictures. So here we go. This is where we left off last time. If you remember, last time we glued the sides on. So what I've done here is I've taken the clamps off and I've started shaping the back. So the back's going to be rounded, and there you can see me starting to shape it, and there a little bit more shaping's done. I've carved the front of that side now down to the heel block. And if you look closely, you'll see I've drawn with a white pencil on top of the sides there. So when I rub my block on it, I'll see where the pencil's cleaned off, that's where the side is high. Where the pencil isn't cleaned off, that's where it's low. And what I'm doing there is rubbing my radius block on top. So I'm using a radius block, but as I mentioned on the last live stream, you don't need a radius block. You can just do it with a flat block. There's a clever little widget you can make which holds the block at an angle to estimate that curve of the back, and it's plenty good enough. So I built guitars for years using that method before I had a radius block. There you can see the sides are cleaned up somewhat, but just with a little bit of pencil left. So a little bit more sanding to finish it off. And then we glue the curved lining on. So once that back is shaped, then we're gluing on the second lot of curved lining, just like we did it last time. So we glue it on a thumbnail high, so it sticks up just a thumbnail. There you can see it being glued, dry clamped on actually. So as you know, we always check twice, cut once, and when it comes to gluing, we always dry clamp before we glue. Notice that the curved lining is sticking up a lot more on the curved bit, and on those flat sections on each side of it, it's quite close. So I can't make it any lower. That's because of the curve of the top that we put in. The curved lining, it will bend this way, but it won't bend the other way, you see. So you have to give a little bit of leeway so it sticks up a little bit unevenly out of the top. But we're going to trim that back, and there you can see it getting glued on. You can never have too many clamps, can you, Carol?
Well, apparently not. I'm going to move you. I think you're obstruction.
So you don't need... oh, thanks, Carol.
Keep your back there.
So you don't need all those clamps. You can glue them just one at a time, and you can use less clamps, but you can never have too many, is the rule. Now here, what I'm doing while the curved lining was drying, I decided to make these diamonds. So these are centre seam reinforcement diamonds. I'll show you that. Can't really see that very well, can you? You'll maybe see them better on the on the picture. Try that camera.
Is that camera 3? Camera 2? Yeah, no, that's good. Good.
Diamonds. So, just using a sandpaper block there. Obviously I cut the squares. You can see the saw in the background and the offcut of wood. I cut these squares, little tiny squares, and then I sand an angle onto them to make them into the centre seam reinforcement diamonds. Like that. I'm not sure if you can see the angles on it.
Yeah, you can.
You can see it better there, look.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Also keep my offcuts of curved lining because well, there's a better picture of the diamonds, look. So they're to reinforce the glue joint on the soundboard. There's them being glued in. So we just make sure that we don't leave more than 1/4 of an inch of the top unsupported along the centre line. So glue in as many of those blocks as we can fit in. They're about 16mm square, about 5/8 square. So here what I'm doing is I'm gluing in those I'm gluing in those extra bits of kerf lining I was talking about above the braces. There's a close-up there. So what it does, if you imagine if the top gets a whack, those braces could come loose. So we glue some kerf lining down on top, holding the brace down, super securing the ends of those braces there, just in case the top ever gets a whack, the braces can't come loose. So that's extra kerf lining blocks gluing in over the X brace and the upper face brace. And there's the plane. So just wanted to include a picture of that. That's the screenshot that I used for the thumbnail. I don't actually recommend you use a plane for that because you can knock off the little individual blocks unless your plane is very sharp. Well, mine is pretty sharp, so it was good enough. And you can skip the plane and just use sandpaper, but the plane is obviously faster. I wanted to get a picture of it so I could point out the amazing discussion that's going on in the forum. There's another little plane that I use for carving braces. So I wish you could have been there, guys, when I was doing that, but there's only so much time. Carving the braces is great fun. I love it. Again, they're rough carved before we fit the back to the body. And then rough sanded, and then at this point this is where it's rough fitted to the body. So I'm going to show you just quickly what I needed to do to fit the back on, and then I'm going to actually go ahead and glue it. At that point there, we're going to do questions, and if you haven't got a cup of tea already, then now's the time to do it. I think what we'll do is we'll just we'll give people time to get their cups of teas ready while we do our first round of questions now. Then I'm going to glue the back on, and then following that we'll finish up with any more questions that you've got, but we've got a little surprise for you at the end. Yeah, how to spot a fake Bailey guitar. Yeah, we'll show you that at the end. So stick around for that. Do we have any questions then, Carol? Everyone get the kettle on while we're doing questions, because it's very important to have a cup of tea ready for when we glue the back on. Oh yeah, I'm going to write inside it as well. Carol, can you go to the email and tell me what I need to write? Write it out for us. I was going to ask you to print it out, but I forgot.
Shall I read the question out?
Read the question, yeah.
And then I'll go and look. Okay. So the first question today is from somebody called Kai Clayland. He's in the chat this week. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry, we were a bit late today.
Was it Kai or Kyle?
Kai.
Hi, Kai. Thanks for stopping by.
I didn't get a chance to say welcome and hello to everybody personally today because we were a bit late. But anyway, Kai's question is interesting.
I think my camera's on a wonk.
He says, if I build a double neck acoustic, is the process that you showed us the same? Is it the same?
Yes, pretty much the same, but a double neck acoustic is going to have 2 of these in it, 2 of your tail blocks, two heel blocks to attach the next to, and it's probably going to have some kind of spectacular X-brace pattern, which you would have to work out. Yeah, I think you're going off script there. If it's your first guitar, don't do it. Build a normal guitar first, just to get your hand in, because there are a lot of skills to nail. Not massive amounts, but I would highly recommend that you build something reasonably normal first. Having said that, you don't have to, do you? You know, if you're doing it yourself, the sky's the limit. I would recommend that you go to Google and look at what's, if you Google twin neck bracing pattern, have a look at what some other people have done. This is what I do if I'm going off script. I can tell you now that the course does not cover making a twin neck, but you can use, all the skills are the same. The only thing that will be different is the layout of the bracing pattern, and obviously you'll need twice as much wood for your necks, and you'll need extra bits like 2 heel blocks I was talking about. Have a look on Google for some soundboard layouts and do your drawing. You can follow through the design course. If you sign up as a premium member, you get access to the full design course, and you can use that to lay it out using your specific requirements, and then take a picture of it and put it up on the forum, and we'll check it out for you. If you do want us to check out your drawing, it's easier if you lay out a long ruler next to the drawing, and then we can make sure everything's to scale and that kind of thing. Anyway, so another question.
Yeah. Okay. So just as a follow up to that, Boo said that he actually saw an Ace video where a bloke cut 2 acoustics in half.
Yeah.
With a panel saw, and then he glued them back together, right? And it actually worked. So
yeah. Well, that's one way to do it. Get 2 guitars and glue them together.
Now, just on that, 2 things there, because do you remember last week, one of the last streams, Robin was talking about he was asking about a small body guitar.
Yeah.
He says he's put some pictures up on the forum, but he's not sure if anybody's seen them yet.
Okay, brilliant. I haven't seen them.
So that's one.
And while we're on the subject, Ed was asking last week about a crack, that he had a problem with a crack. I've looked for that and I couldn't find it, Ed. So if you repost it, or just re-find it and add a comment to it, then it'll jump back to the top. Unfortunately,
or email you.
Or email me, yeah. Send me some pictures. The forum's so busy at the moment, it's kind of hard to keep up with everything. But our premium members, you've got a direct line to me. You can ask me a question if you hit the button. The button only appears if you're a premium member on the courses. So right, before I glue this back on,
one more question.
I've got a message to write inside.
Question, right? You said let's do all the questions.
I know, but a cup of tea's going cold. We can do questions after. I only meant to do 1 question, Carol.
Sorry, that's not what you said.
We can do more questions after, can't we? We're going to do more questions after. Has everybody got their cup of tea ready? Has everybody got their cup of tea ready, Carol? Yeah?
I don't know.
We'll have a look in the comments.
There's a delay.
Lordy law.
Oh.
Right, I'm going to do
Hello,
it.
Neil Sumner. Neil Sumner's watching.
Hi, Neil. Hey, Neil. So this is the message I'm going to write inside. If you commission a guitar from me, then you can have anything you want written inside. In the olden days, people used to come to the workshop, didn't they, Carol?
Right. So now, because there is a delay, now everybody's saying they're ready. Right,
good.
Boo's ready. Rock and Roller's ready. Tin Marb's ready.
Well, where's my chuffing
Brad
pencil?
MC says, does coffee work? Yes,
Coffee's
it does.
fine.
I'm on coffee.
The beverage of your choice.
Matt Tolan's got a soda.
You lot can have a whiskey
Steve
if you want.
Adams has got tea.
Anything you want.
And,
I'm not allowed to drink in the workshop, but I'm having my tea. You lot can have whatever you want.
Bag press is on tea and toast, which has been noted this week. It's not Not like him. Normally it's something more exotic.
Right, so
Marcel says he's got no tea, but he's ready anyway. Matt Beals is on the coffee. Ross
where
is
shall
on
I
the
write
tea.
it? Here.
But as long as you're ready, it's good.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but let's try. What's that look like, Carol?
Yeah, your hands fit a little bit in shade.
Mark was here.
I hope Ricky's watching, because this is like a moment, isn't it?
17th of Feb. (2021). Woohoo! And I always like to write the place it was made and who made it and the date. So that's already written, most of it's already written in there, but I'll just write here Burnhouse Cottage, because I like it here. We're only here because of the grace of God and you guys.
And Ricky Allen's watching. Ricky Allen's here. Hey Ricky. This is special.
There you go. Can you see that? Burnhouse Cottage. Mark was here.
Do you usually sign it, Mark, or do you?
Yeah. I'll sign it there next to the Burnhouse Cottage bit.
And because you also sign the label as well, don't you? There's a label.
Yeah, we'll get a label as well. M. Bailey. The mark of quality. There we go. Right, so let's get this glued on. Now, as you lot know, I don't glue anything without first of all dry clamping. So, what you need to know is I've already done that this morning. I already had a little practice run.
Is that what you did last week? Last session as well?
Yeah, last session I had it already dry clamped up before I started. So just take a little pause. Yeah, I wanted to point out that in order to get this back to fit, first of all I carved the braces, which you saw on the slideshow there. I carved these braces, but then I also cut the brace ends to length so that they fit into these slots here. So here we've got slots cut out for the brace ends to fit into, and that there takes quite a bit of doing, takes quite a bit of work. I use my Dremel for that. You can see the slots on. Oh shit, just turn the camera off. You can see the hopefully you can see the slots on the other side there. If I do that, so these slots here, the brace ends fit into, they're an 1/8 of an inch deep, and the brace ends are 1/8 of an inch thick as well. So they fit perfectly into these little slots. That's the idea, and what we're looking for is we want it to fit like a jewellery box lid. So like this. See that? Just pops into place, beautiful. So when you're doing this kind of thing, you're going to have a practice run first, dry clamp, have a practice run, in fact have a few practice runs until you know exactly what you're doing. of course. If you really want to get the ins and outs of how to do this, then you need to join up on the course. On a live stream like this, there's only so much that I can show you. There's a lot of things I've kind of tried to tell you as much as I can, but I've had to skip over some things, Blue Peter style. So these notches are already cut. I've already cut my brace ends to length and checked that it all fits. So I'm quite happy now to go ahead and glue it. So let's do it. Put that to one side. So when we're gluing, got to make sure that we get glue in the pockets in here. Got to make sure we get glue on the heel block and the tail block as well, and obviously all the way around. So here we go. Of course, once we start putting the glue on, then we can't stop. So important to have a sip of tea before we start. Let's do it. Do you want to do some switching, Carol? Nice beader glue all the way around. Any excess glue will run down into the slots, hopefully. Any excess glue that runs down the inside will wipe off straight away. But of course, it's one of the only jobs we do where you can't really clean the glue up, because obviously once the lid's on, you can't get your hand inside to glue it. I should mention, this is just gently clamped down to the bench with the workboard shim underneath. You'll see that if you look on the last live stream, the workboard shim. It's just holding the curve for the soundboard. So I'm going to quickly spread this with my finger. And what I'm going to do with the bead around the edge is just, what we do is we just go around with my finger like this, to trying to create a peak in the middle. A little peak of glue in the middle there. Just make sure it's nice and wet in the middle. If it's too wet, you can always take a bit of glue off and use it elsewhere. A bit too much glue there, a bit too little there.
Well, I'm going to have to interrupt you.
Okay, go on.
The workshop chat is in meltdown.
Why? What's happened?
Because they think you're going to glue that big lump of wood inside.
No, it's fine, guys. It comes out. I can take it out afterwards. Don't worry. I've done it before. See, this just comes apart. So I can just take the bolt out, it comes apart, trust me. Trust me, I'm a guitar doctor. I'm going to get a little bit of scrap wood now just to spread the glue in these pockets.
A lot of phew.
It's quite handy having you lot watching, just in case, you know.
Well, I think after not gluing that brace the last time, I think there was quite a bit of panic. It's good.
Well done, guys. Right then, make sure there's no dry spots. The number one, anyone know the number one rule with gluing? Number one rule with gluing is don't panic. So we don't have to rush. Make sure it's all free from dust, no dry spots, all looking good. Let's wave goodbye to the inside. Bye bye. And pop the lid on. Okay, now what I'm going to do is put, these are just standing cards, sandpaper on one side, it stops them from slipping. and the card, it stops the centre seam from breaking when we put these clamps on. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a couple of wooden clamps on the ends. Don't forget, I've already done this once. I've already dry clamped before you lot got here, just to make sure everything was okay. So I'm making sure all my brace ends are in the pockets where they should be, which they're not yet. There it goes. Beautiful. Did you hear that lovely sound? So I'm going to use, believe it or not, a rubber band. This is a car inner tube that's been cut into a spiral about 1.5 inches wide to give us a long strip. If you can't find one, email me. I've got loads of this stuff. Thanks to Theron, sent us a load. Yeah, our premium members, if you're one of our premium members, give us an email, I'll send you some. What we do is we just tie this on, and this is what we call rope in the back. So tie it on, nice and tight. I normally do the knot underneath, but I'm doing it on the top so you guys can see it. And then I'll just move it underneath just for tidiness sakes, just to keep it tidy. So it's tied around the waist, it's clamped on each end. Checking, checking, checking. Always checking all the time. Once it's on, it's on. Brilliant. So now we can just go ahead and start roping it. So what we do is we just wrap it, basically. Leave a little gap every time. It's a good idea to leave a little gap. And then you can still check, make sure it's all the way in. So don't need huge amount of pressure. Nice and tight. Someone's had a puncture there, look. That's the lower bout, and now we just do the upper bout exactly the same. I like to go as close to the clamp as possible, and then just skip a bit. Next one, skip a bit. Keep the tension on. Whoa. So you don't want to let go of this because obviously it will just come loose. A lot of people like to use spool clamps for this. You'll see those kind of little round spool clamps with a threaded rod through the middle. That's fine. Use those if you prefer, but I prefer this. I'm going to put one more around the waist and then just tuck it in. That's it. Because it's rubber, it just clamps like that. How easy is that? How much fun is that? And the best thing about it is this is free. Old car inner tubes are free. If you haven't got one in your shed, then ask about, someone will have one. And if you can't find one, then email me and I'll send you one. So that there, folks, is how we rope the back. We call it rope in the back, even though we use rubber. And there we go. So don't go away, because we're going to give you another important nugget now. How to spot a fake Bailey. So do we have any questions on that? Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's a couple.
You've got to round it off with a cup of tea.
And a round of applause, because that's
Oh, 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 go. Cup of tea. Cheers all.
Is there anything you want to say in summary about making it fit like a jewellery box and all of that?
Only just to reiterate what I already said is that a lot of work went into making it fit like a jewellery box lid, cutting the notches and cutting the brace ends to the exact right length so that they fit into those notches. That stops the sides from collapsing in as well, if you think about it. The sides can't collapse in because they butt up against those brace ends. So I think it's astounding, the cleverness of the design of an acoustic guitar. You know, I always say mine's far superior to ours. Have developed this this acoustic style instrument over the years. I think it's amazing the way it all fits together. That's just one example, but every part of the guitar is kind of built like that. Every part reinforces another part, and it all comes together to make, you know, really flimsy pieces of wood into a really solid, strong, but lightweight and responsive box. So that's what it's all about. And if you want to know all the ins and outs of it, then I'm afraid you'll have to head to guitarmaking.co.uk and become a premium member. That is also the best possible way you can support us. We actually, it's our main source of income at the moment is you guys, our premium members. So a massive thanks to you lot for keeping a roof above our heads and socks on our feet and lentils in our pan. Do we have any more questions before we wrap it up then?
Yes, there's a couple of things.
Don't miss the fake Bailey coming up.
First of all, Rock and Roller earlier on, before you did back on, he said that you were talking about centre seam diamonds, and he said that some makers glue reinforcing strips inside the ribs. Thoughts? He said. Yeah,
so that's the same as the way we do our backs. So some builders do that. By all means, if you prefer that, then go for it. But it's not essential. Bojacks.
So I've worked out how to do this now.
Cheers, Bojack. Thanks a lot.
I've got the mouse back, so I worked out how to do it. So
Carol's had a breakthrough on the master controls.
Well, just because I got the mouse back, so there we are. So thank you very much.
Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. Every little helps.
Okay, another good question. So Raoul Shelton down in New Zealand, he has asked, why is it that acoustic guitars aren't sealed on the inside?
That is an excellent question. I wish I knew the answer to that. I don't actually know the answer to that. But what I do know is that when we make arch tops, those are sealed on the inside. So yeah, the truthful answer is I don't know the answer to that. And if I ever meet Andy Manson or one of my guitar heroes, that's one of the questions that I'll ask them. It does seem strange, doesn't it, that you go to all this extent to you know, build something that's super lightweight, just strong enough to be responsive, and then people talk about sealing it to make it more resilient to the atmosphere, changes in environment and that kind of thing. And then you learn that the inside's just unfinished. And yeah, it's one of the mysteries of guitar making. If I ever find out, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, I have thought about it, and my thoughts are this. It's a lot more difficult to finish the inside. And it adds expense. And I think that might be just it. It might be just that. So it's become traditional not to finish the inside. We don't finish the inside of our guitars, except for our archtop guitars.
Bojack's is saying, do you think it would dampen sound if it was sealed?
Yes, that's possibly another reason why they wouldn't do it. Although sealer would be so thin, you know, just one coat of sealer or a couple of coats of sealer is pretty much negligible. But yeah, that is possibly an argument against not doing it. I know that from what I was taught, the skill of a finisher, a guitar finisher, is to get that finish as thin as possible, because every coat you add, obviously it builds up, and it's kind of like wrapping a blanket around your guitar. It's going to dull the sound. So the skill of a finisher is to get the finish as thin as possible, but still get that kind of like sucked sweet look that everybody loves. So it's not easy. By the way, big shout out to Boo, who's just done his first silver flake. Can't wait to see it finished. It looks awesome. So he's setting an example to us all. If you want to know how to do a metallic flake, head over to the forum and check that post out. Silver Flake by Boo. Looks awesome. Nice job, Boo. I think you might have a few people following behind you. I might be one of them. Yeah, so Boo's used a special gun to spray the large metal flakes, and it looks spectacular. So I think we're all going to be doing that next week. Do we have any more questions?
No, just a comment that TV101 says the acoustic course is great. I'm working my way through it. I'm watching my way through it. I'm about a third of the way in, and so far haven't come across anything that looks too hard to do. No,
well, that's a good point. I don't think anything is too hard. I've always thought if somebody else can do it, then I can blooming well do it. I think sometimes I've come across as arrogant or you know, too big for me boots, and sometimes I bite off more than I can chew. But you know, and quite often I find that if I knew how difficult it was going to be when I started, I probably never would have started. But yeah, what I've done is I've broken it down, what seems like a really difficult and complicated job, into lots of small, quite easy jobs really, that I believe and actually I know anybody can do, because I've taught over 400 people by hand. Cheers TV101 for that. And also TV101's been in the forum asking about a guitar that I made for Mick Abbott with the arm chamfer. So if I just grab a body.
Whilst he's away, there's quite a few comments in the chat, Mark, about it's quite interesting discussion about the ceiling on the inside, because people are wondering, like, well, Bagpress is saying that Macaferri did it because he was paranoid about damp, you know, and shifting environments. People are asking about the effect on the sound and whether if it's sealed it would not dry out, you know, and sort of harden as well. So there's a whole load of chat. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? But I guess you can't test it. It is an interesting subject, but you don't have to finish the inside. So imagine this guitar with a bevel on here. You'll have seen guitars with bevels. I made one recently for Mike Abbott, a Moonshiner, and TV101 was asking about that. So I was going to try and squeeze it in today, but there's not enough time today to do all that. So what I will do pretty soon, probably in the next one, is depending on what I get asked between now and then, if something more important comes up. But pretty soon I'm going to do a little bonus bit on how to do that, how to do the arm carve on an acoustic guitar, the arm bevel. Because the last one I made, I took loads of pictures, so I've got all the pictures and I can talk you through it as a bonus bit. At some point in the future I'd like to do it as a full instructional build. But yeah, watch out for that bonus bit on doing the arm carve coming up soon. Go on, Carol. Right, so is this you about to do the last thing?
I'm done, yeah. I'm going to do the...
Okay, well, I just wanted to say one thing today. We've had a couple of really kind people message us this week, and they have gifted some membership to friends. And so I just wanted to say that, apart from thank you,
Does that mean that their friends are going to win the guitar?
Well, that's up to them. But what that's not why I was saying this. It's a really kind thing to do, but it might not be clear how you do that. So if you want to renew your membership, you just go to or join for the first time. You just go to the membership part, and you sign up or you upgrade your membership, and it does it automatically. But if you want to if you've already got membership but you want to buy more, but it doesn't start from now, or if you want to gift it to someone, or because you want to maybe get Lockdown Lucy, you want to buy some extra, then you just have to go to the gifts and buy the gift bit, right? And I'm only saying this because a couple of people have asked me how it works. And the difference between the gift purchase and doing it in the membership is that there are more options, but also the person isn't automatically notified, whereas in the membership part, if you gift it to someone, you're asked to put their email in and they're automatically notified, so you can't keep it a secret. If it's still confusing, just message me. But so I wanted to first of all, say thank you to those people, because it's really what a lovely, kind gift. And you can, we've got 3 and 6 months in there, but you can of course just sign them up for a month if you don't want to gift that much. But anyway, thank you. So if it's not,
where's Carol Cam?
Oh well, listen, we'll sort that out. I'm getting grief about that, but not today. Because it's on a daft angle, I don't like it.
Right, how do you spot a Bailey then, Carol? How do you spot a fake Bailey?
Well, it's really weird, isn't it? Because we've been asked this question twice, haven't we, Mark?
Yeah, so another one's popped up.
Another one?
Do you want to let them see it?
Oh, right, okay.
Because you've got the controls, haven't you?
Right. Right, so just give me...
So this came up recently. We've got an email from a guy.
Right.
You'll have to push me in, won't you?
Okay.
Do you need some help?
No. Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Wrong. No, you've got the space bar.
Shall I press it?
Yeah.
Fake. Is this a fake Bailey? It looks pretty good. Hang on a minute though. There's something weird about that logo.
I'm pausing it though.
Right, for one thing, the logo's wonky. For another thing, that ain't my logo. It's pretty close.
Oh, but what?
Isn't it close?
I can't get over this. I can't believe that they went to all this bother and they did that.
Look at that. It's so close to my logo.
No,
but just not quite.
No, but it's badly not quite. Who... do you know what I mean? What were they... They haven't even done it well.
So you haven't made it until someone's tried to copy?
No, definitely not.
What is it? Imitation is the best form of flattery?
It certainly is. So
yeah, how you spot a Bailey is that's not the proper logo. Compare the logo to start with. Me Y and me underline don't join up like that. And
it's the Y. It's like, I think the B-A-I and the L.
I make sure that I don't put them on wonky as well.
No, but that bottom bit is the additional bit. It's the stick
they've
of the
just
Y.
joined it up, haven't they?
But badly. Look how bad it is.
Yeah. Can we see the other picture again?
Right. So then, go back.
Well, no. Keep going forward if there's more.
Right.
Yeah. If you look closely, you'll also notice that everything's wonky. Everything's wonky. It's got my name on it. It's not one of mine, folks. We know that there's more out there, but please don't buy them because they're not mine.
Well, and
look how wonky the pickups are.
Yeah, they're not. It's not even under the.
So every now and again we get an email from somebody who's one of these guitars has surfaced, and we have to let them down gently. So thanks to John J for spotting it.
Right, and I just want to say...
Pull me off, Carol, please. Thank you.
Right, so...
So how you spot a fake Bailey is it's all wonky. Real Baileys ain't wonky.
But here's what's strange. Here's what's really strange is that guitar. It's because the other thing you didn't mention is that it's a 12-string. So we have never made a 12-string Les Paul copy.
No, I've made 12-string electric guitars and acoustic guitars.
But not a Les
But
Paul, not that
one.
kind of copy, right? But this actually was brought to our attention about, I can't remember, it was maybe 7 or 8 years ago. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because one Christmas we got remember we got a flurry of emails from people saying, is this your guitar?
Yeah.
Because it was on for like $300 or something. And anyway, that's how we heard about it. And when the last one of the people that contacted us actually contacted the seller, right? And what they said was they asked them why the pickups were off centre, why they didn't fit them with strings. And apparently, about this one a few years ago, the seller said it's because the stupid people that tried to copy it, I think he said in China, the stupid people that tried to copy it didn't do it properly, right? So at the time we thought maybe there were more about there, but I think this looks very much like the same one to me, with maybe slightly different pickups, but I can't find the original pictures. I'm still looking.
So somebody was trying to have them manufactured in China.
Well, that's the impression that the person...
And they came back wonky.
We had loads of correspondence.
Serves you right. That's all I can say. Serves you right for trying to really rip me off.
But there was also, do you remember there were pirate DVDs
Probably
as well?
made more money out of it than me.
Remember on eBay? Somebody was selling pirate Guitar Magic DVD.
Please don't rip me off, folks.
I think it's hilarious. A failie. Boo's called it a failie.
A failie, yeah.
A failie, yeah.
So, if you're ever buying a guitar, if you're in the market to buy a guitar, the most important thing... What's the most important thing, Carol?
Well, don't buy a failie for a start. Check how many strings it's got and make sure nothing's wonky.
Check twice and buy once. Are you ready? Now Carol fades to the end screen. Check twice,
You've
buy
taken me by
once.
surprise with that. Right.
Check twice, buy once.
You've got the space bar.
I've got the ultimate power here with the spacebar. So I hope you found something enjoyable or interesting in this video. If you did, give us a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. So coming up, I'm going to be at some point doing the arm bevel that I told you about. But on this Ricky's guitar here, Ricky's Big D Custom, I guess the next job is to actually fit the neck to the body. And this is going to be a dovetail joint. So it's what you've all been waiting for, folks. Coming up next time on the Guitar Making channel. Dovetail joint. Whenever you're doing a dovetail joint or buying a guitar or doing anything to do with guitar making, most important thing, are you ready now, Carol?
Are you ready?
Check twice and just cut the once. Wrong one.
Well, where is the other one?
It's in the other media bin, so you can't click it by mistake. No rush. Just any time today would be good.
Right, just so everybody knows, I've got
I'm going to
two
come round there and do it
mouses.
myself.
We've got 2 computers and 2 mouses. No wonder.
Stop it, Will. What are you doing? What are you doing? Media 2? There it is, look. There.
But he's got the keyboard, just so you know, folks. He's got the keyboard.
Right, folks. I'm going to go and sack Carol. I hope you all enjoyed that. I need another cup of tea now.
Right, we're going.
We'll see you next time.
See you
And
next time.
if you want to see us before then, we'll see you in the forum. Check twice, cut once. Finish your video 3 times. Yeah, that's the wrong link as well.
Right, and he put that was nothing to do with
It's
me.
/community.
Absolutely nothing to do with me. Mark's loaded up the wrong one.
So anyway.
So we're both sacked. We won't see you on Saturday.
Whenever you're
Thank you very
doing a
much for-
live stream, the most important thing is to check twice and end your video 4 times. I'm just going to fade to black now. See you next time, folks.
Bye.
We'll get the end screen sorted for next time. Sorry, Steve. Bye. Oh, they love it. Love it.